So, it's good to be back, guys. Had a problem with the computer, got struck by lightning a few months ago. Randomly replaced parts until it's finally fixed. So definitely missed doing shows. Tonight's episode is called The Rebirth. I kind of had it in mind after the solstice. The energy with the solstice is rebirth, brings on harvest time, and everything is nice and lush at this time of year. So it's a rebirth energy that comes with the solstice energy, which was back in June. I know we're in September, but a rebirth is many things, and it's part of the energy that has been accumulating over the years, and it's also a reboost or a refresh of that same energy came in with June and leading up to we are rebirthing into our new selves as we go down the path of oneness with one another. It's a rebirth. It also means to resurrect, a revival, a renewal, a regeneration. I like regeneration. I like the term, or recalibrating. In essence, we're all rebirthing and recalibrating, personally and globally. Sometimes change isn't fun, but it's nice. Natural laws, everything always changes, everything's always in motion, so change is inevitable. Luckily that the change we have coming about us is the right kind of change that we're all looking and seeking within inside of ourselves. So a rebirth, I like to think that every day is a rebirth and every moment is a rebirth, to renew my experience of oneness, and spreading love to one another, to all the brothers and sisters that we have, that we see, all these reflections of ourselves. I try to remember and renew that as much as possible. The grand thing of rebirth is you have the old things which have to be dismantled. Things have to become transparent, and so the old energy has been around for a very, very long time, And so it takes time and patience and perseverance to ride the change as the old systems start to collapse. Or not really collapse, they kind of fallen into themselves. They created their own demise, and they just don't work with the new energy. You know, so I've said many times, all the things that you see that you would think are bad, as far as economics or political and all this stuff, you have to see it for what it is. It is the crumbling of the old and the rebirth of the new. And to not put any type of energy towards the negative standpoints of separation, whether it be a political stance of a party affiliation. There's two sides to each coin, but it's still the same coin. A bird has a left and a right wing, but it's still the same bird. And so use this crumble of the system to see that there is no difference between one party or another. They're still controlled by the same powers, and part of the slavery mechanism has been the illusion of choice. And so we need to realize that these things are very transparent now, and we have to remember that everything that you're being shown is trying to separate you from one another, which is the old energy, the old paradigm. It's the easiest tactic in the book, divide and conquer. So as soon as you find separation between you and another, when it comes to a party affiliation or a religion or the color of your skin or anything under the sun that you could find disharmony with your fellow brothers and sisters, is mechanisms that have been used against you throughout history to keep you from uniting with one another, because finding these truths is where you will find true freedom, and you can't control a truly free man. And so it's time for us to rebirth into the true knowledge of freedom. And that true knowledge of freedom comes from realizing that you are beautiful eternal light, and this is merely one of many experiences that you have come to play in this game of life here on earth. You've came many times before to try and help move the masses to realize that they're all one. You've came before, you're here again. It's still the same thing. We're all here to remember that we are one with one another. It's time to be reborn into the essence of the oneness that we all contain, because we are all a duplication of what we would call the one source, or what people would like to call God. The I am. You are the I am. You can experience the the presence of oneness and the love of the one source. You can be reborn in the essence of practicing that oneness and releasing the ego. For the rebirth brings the death of an ego, and the rebirth of the connection to the one source. that resides inside of each and every one of us. So you can't separate yourself from your brothers and sisters, because they're a part of you, a piece of you. Everything you see is a part of you and an expression of the one source that you contain inside of yourself. Rebirth comes through in many forms. In your personal experience, it can come through as a rebirth of your outlook of life, or a rebirth of what you think of your fellow brothers and sisters. It may be the release of old belief systems. It may be the release of old relationships. And the rebirth is the new standpoint, the new outlook, the new situations that you will bring about, the new people that you will bring into your life, the new experiences. All of these are in essence a rebirth. So we have the essence of the loss of the old energy, or the transmutation, because energy does not cease to exist, it is only transformed. So the old energy is being reborn into a new, and this goes throughout your life. It echoes all throughout the cosmos, from your life to the cosmos and beyond, as above and so below, so above, as above, so below, as above. It's just the natural order of how things work. And so you have the rebirth of new relationships, whether you a lot of people have released their jobs, and so, or got rid of friends that were no longer vibrating at the frequency that they were, and so they released friends and old jobs that did not resonate with them, and so they have rebirthed new friends, new jobs. A lot of people have seek solitude, which is a great way to be reborn in the essence, because when you're alone and you do your inner searching and discoveries for the things that you are compassionate about the things that you want to do with your life, or the job that you may want, or the influence that you may want to have on others. You may do the inward seeking to help bring on your own personal rebirth by trying to see how you handle situations that may be like a recurring pattern of the old ways and the old energy, the same reaction to certain situations. And you may feel and see that as you go on, you're rebirthing out of these patterns. These same patterns will arise, the universe will bring these same patterns, and then you will transmute them by handling them with that reborn energy, or that reborn outlook, and you will see how much influence you have on your life and others by the decisions and the decisions and energy that you put out with your thoughts and your actions. And so inward discovery and figuring out how you are handling the same situations the same way, and just knowing is most of the battle, because we have a habit to do things over and over again and handle situations the same way and expect a different outcome. I guess it's just a psychological thing that we play with ourselves in our mind somehow. But also with these times and this energy, you have the old belief systems which are fading away because they do not resonate with the new energy that this new age has brought upon us. The golden age, the age of transparency, where we will find truths in anything that we seek, because it all is pertained in each inside of every one of us. And so therefore, as you do your inward journeys and studies, then if you have questions and seek for knowledge and answers, then you will find them inside of you every time. And then once you find them, then the universe will throw you synchronicities and things out there just to affirm what you already knew, that you knew, that you knew. And so this rebirth of this knowing that's inside of you, as you release what you've been taught, what you have been the effects of another cause, whether it's how you were raised or how you were taught, or if you were taught nothing at all. As you find the inner truths, it is gonna rebirth this whole new era of where religions will either cease to exist or they will transform their doctrine to the real message of oneness. And so you have the rebirth of new belief systems, a new outlook on everything that is to be experienced by each and every one of us. And that was the whole reason for the game. It's the whole reason why we play the game, is so we can come and remember and boost on higher frequencies to bring on new higher vibrating realities with peace and harmony with one another, a heaven on earth per se, but just together with one another, sustainable with the earth, no wars, just harmony for life, where people have time to passionately create the things that they want to do, instead of being slaves to a system for paper, where you waste your life energy away and your beautiful passions of creations to help perpetuate war by the powers that are in control, and to separate yourself from your fellow man. And so we have a rebirth where all this is changing and going away because of people like you and I who seek the inner freedom and find it and help share the message that we are all in this together, and we are all family of the one source. And this is the game we come to play, to remember, to help others remember that we are all the one. So you have the release of the old perceptions and a rebirth of brand new perceptions of life and what it really means to be a service to your fellow brothers and sisters and to help one another by any means necessary. Or if you have a talent and a gift, or if you have money or anything abundant that you can help someone with, you should do that, and it will bring you great joy to be of service instead of disharmony with your neighbors and your friends and family. So we have to release our old perceptions and have them reborn into the oneness. So birth is such a beautiful thing. Little babies are the most connected to that one source as most any individuals are on this plane in this game. And anytime you've ever seen a newborn baby, you understand that feeling that the baby radiates. It's so, they're so beautiful and innocent, and they just radiate this energy of excitement and curiosity to experience, and they radiate that the light of the one source very strongly, and so it affects people. People can feel it personally, and it's very beautiful. And so reality is all perception. You know, what's good for me may not be good for you. What seems good to you might not seem good to me. So perception is one of the bases of the mental universe, and the universe is mental. The universe is mind. So realizing that we are all in this one mind, sharing this experience with one another, and recalibrating our perceptions from the duality to the oneness, you will start to see many things change in your own life and the ones around you, and it ripples throughout all of the hologram. And the more we start to perceive collectively of this oneness, the more rapid the changes will come about. The more rapid we'll start to live in harmony with one another. Everybody's perception is manipulated. You weren't taught to think for yourself in school. That is basically a 12-step brainwash count. And then you have politics and news and all these other ways of manipulating your perception of what you think may be true or not. And so little do you know that all the people from other countries, they want the same thing that you want. They do the same things that you do. They are no different than you. They live on a different part of the rock. Their skin may be a little different color, their language may be different, they may wear different clothes, but the light inside of them is just the same of the light that's inside of you, and they want the same things that you want. Everybody wants to be happy. They want to spend time with the people that they like and love. Most people like to create things in one way or another, and this is what all humans want to do. A select few who are in discord and disharmony want to control all of us, and they've done that for a very long time. But once you step into the freedom of true freedom that comes from what you pertain inside of you, and you start to realize that your perception has been based on belief systems that were taught to you. And if you want to really think about it, anything that ever changed your perception was an experience. Most of the time, experience is what changes our perception. Not always. I mean, you can be open-minded and change everything. It is your mind, and it is your choices that you make by your own free will. But experiences, whether they be tragic or any end of the spectrum to be extreme, good or bad, usually have big impacts on your perception. The hardest perceptions to change are the ones that you were taught your entire life by your parents or your grandparents, and these are like the most important things that alter your perception of this game that we play of life. That's why they're so profound. That's why we've been so easily controlled. Because the laws are simple of life, and figuring out that these belief systems were close but no cigar, and figure out that the only belief that you need to know and realize is that the light that you may call God is inside of you, and you can find it. You are a piece of it. There was never no reason to seek outside for it. That pretty much eliminates all religions. You do not need a priest or a rabbi or a preacher or prayer or any kind of things like this to experience the light, the God, the inner light and the inner sound that you pertain inside of yourself. Once you start to figure this out, your perception changes dramatically, and you start to shed old belief systems and thought patterns, and you start to rebirth your outlook on life, and you start to rebirth and recalibrate your belief systems by new experience and information that you found inside of yourself. And it's a daily journey which lasts many lifetimes. So it's great to have this rebirth energy. Here we are, way into the shift of the new energy that started in 2012 increasingly, but it's been going on for hundreds of years. It's just part of the cycle of us cycling out of the Dark Ages, which we literally called the Dark Ages. until here we are now, and you can look at the last 100 years was mind-blowing change with these new energies. So one can only imagine the momentum that has been picked up and how fast and different the new changes will bring about. You can think about your grandparents and the things they went through, their outlook on life and their beliefs, and then you can see your parents' generation. You see this huge leap. And then you see our generation from our parents' generation, and you have this next giant leap. And so we have, a couple of new smaller generations coming on, and they will see the most changes of all the generations, I imagine. I'm just barely old enough to remember when there was no internet, cell phones. There was only a landline. I remember a rotary phone. A-track was before me, but I remember cassette tapes and all that good stuff. I'm only 31. If you look at just technology, pre 30 years prior to that, you will see the speed, the momentum that has been accumulating, leading up to this new energy that we're in now. And so in my 30 years, from landline phone to a computer that fits in my pocket, that was faster than a computer I had in 2000. My desktop computer in the year 2000, that's 2018, was 10% of the capabilities of the cell phone that I have right now. So that technology leap is tremendous, and that's just one of the many ways that you can see the energy shifting and changing into where we are now, rebirthing everything in this new age, here together with one another. And we can help by just realizing that we are all brothers and sisters, and to be in service to one another by any means that we can, and to love one another. Even if someone doesn't see things the way you see them, doesn't mean that you can't love them just because you don't agree with their beliefs. Everybody is at their own point in their own journey. You can't tell a newborn baby it's time to walk. It takes time and experience to be able to walk. So when it's time for someone to take their next steps, then it'll be that time. But there's no reason to be disconnected or in disharmony with a fellow brother or sister just because they may be more unknowledgeable about the light that they pertain inside of themselves, and less aware of their gifts and talents that they have. For you can't hold it against a baby that he can't talk and walk, which is, well, you can't do that to anybody in your everyday life just because they don't perceive the way you do, or their belief system isn't as yours. You can still send them love, and that in essence shows them your belief in action, compassion in action, is how you show your inner light. This was the message of all the yogis and Jesus and all the other ones, was to love one another, and that compassion in action is what shows what you believe. So I think the one I heard is I can't remember it now. It was some kind of saying about show me the beliefs of your God. So, you know, it doesn't matter what you believe, it is what you do. It is the actions that you take towards one another, the words that come out of your mouth, the thoughts that you think. This is really the essence of what you should practice in your life with the rebirth energy, is the compassion in action, the oneness of knowing that we're all in this together, and that once we become in harmony, we will see a rebirth that none of us could imagine, and it'll be delightful. Well guys, has anybody got any comments or questions? I know it's definitely been good to be back. This episode, like I said, kind of come to me around the solstice, to do one called the Rebirth. So now we've had time to experience this energy, this rebirth that comes with the solstice. So it also gives us a little time to reflect on that energy. That's exactly right, Becca. We do learn from each other. If someone thinks differently, that is the best person that you would like to talk to and hear how they believe and how they think, because that is how we navigate the terrain with one another, to help talk about what life is really about, in the loving standpoint, not in the standpoint of what I believe is right and what you believe is wrong. The fact that when you gather together and talk about what life is whenever you bring on this this energy of the one source stronger. It's part of the human essence of trying to know what is or what isn't. So learning other people's beliefs and learning their perspectives from a neutral standpoint of open-mindedness, and not instantly shut off because it's different than what yours is going to help you grow, and help you communicate with one another and understand why someone perceives things the way they do. So understanding what someone believes is going to help you communicate better and be of service to one another. It's definitely a big learning mechanism in the experience, is each other's perspective as the expression that they are. Thanks for the question, Becca. Does anyone else have any comments or questions? I know I've definitely missed the couple months of being off the air, but I guess it was good. I got to do some things, you know, like I said, every day is kind of a rebirth in my experience as I try to learn more and experience more. It gives me a regeneration or a renewal. So this extended time away has given me more time for reflection and ideas, thoughts of what to do, where to go, all that good stuff. I want to make a schedule. I guess we're going to start doing shows every other Tuesday, or may do every other Thursday. So today's Tuesday. I'll know by the next show if I'll do every other Tuesday or every other Thursday. So I'll keep it to a schedule to where there's one every other week, but there may be special episodes in betweens or random shows. You just have to stay tuned, or not, you can find it. They're always audio and video. I'm really glad that you guys joined me tonight. I look forward to the next episode with you guys. Like I said, you can find our episodes on Facebook.com/higher frequencies. You can find us on YouTube at Higher Frequencies. You can find us on our website at higherfrequencies5d.com. And you can get the last 10 episodes on iTunes and Google Play. So yeah, you know where to find us. I'll be back in a week or so. You guys have a wonderful night. Peace and love. Namaste.